journey began on a boat from FGCU's Vester Field Station in Bonita. It was a short trip to a place perfectly described by biologist Wynn Everham.
You know, it's still a hot, wet, muddy jungle gym filled with spiders, right? And maybe it's even harder because some of the jungle gym got broken and it's all piled on the ground.
Couldn't have said it better myself, and he's right. This humid, muddy mangrove forest has seen better days. That's why Dr. Everham and FGCU's Brian Bovard are making it the center of their studies.
The leaves were still here. It was like everything that was under the storm surge was protected. Everything above it had the leaves blown off of the trees.
The condition of our mangroves is one of the more observable reminders of Hurricane Ian's wrath. What was once a flourishing green forest is now brown, brittle, and dead. And it's especially noticeable from the air. Miles of dry mangrove branches, devoid of color and devoid of life.
And the blacks seem to have fared a little bit better than the other species in here.
But what if I told you the further we zoom out, the harder it is to see what's really going on? Because below this damaged canopy lies a completely different story.
So this is a white mangrove seedling.
Everywhere we looked, young mangroves were shooting up to take the place of older ones, decimated by the storm. And it's not the first time we've seen this happen.
And what they saw after Irma was that the sediment deposition resulted in a die-off in the mature trees, and then the understory trees just shot up, and they think have taken advantage of the nutrients in the soil that was deposited from the estuary.
Brian and Wynn want to understand what's going on here. That's why they've deployed a team of students tasked with meticulously documenting each tree that grows within this 25-acre plot of mangroves.
50 years from now, what will our colleagues that work at FGCU or work in this region wish we had done? Well, they wish we had measured some mangroves 50 years ago, right?
So we're measuring, tagging, and then we're going to come out a couple months later, or about a year later, and we're going to see if they're still growing, if they're alive, if they're coming back.
Along the way, we got a lesson in mangrove identification too.
Next to me is a red mangrove, and the reason I know this is because the roots at the bottom prop up. Black mangrove, we say looks like a wine cork, so it's the big one behind you. They're also thicker in size. A white one has spots, like little spots on it.
And while it might be too soon to tell what exactly is causing this regrowth, we've learned over time that even the strongest hurricanes can bring unexpected environmental benefits. As Brian Bovard explained, these storms have the ability to reset a forest, much like shuffling a deck of cards.
In a lot of forest systems, there will be trees that are hanging out in the understory, just waiting for an opportunity to shoot up into the canopy. And what they need is an opening. They need more light.
And mangrove forests aren't the only parts of our ecosystem benefiting from that hard reset. Here at 6 Mile Cypress, you can see where felled trees have opened up canopy space for new growth. And it doesn't just happen with cypress trees.
The two trees that I like the most are slash pines and bald cypress because they have good apical dominance, which means they grow straight and tall. And the limbs go out to the side so that when they get shaded, the limbs get shaded, they just fall off and fall down.
For some perspective, we talked to Russ Ringland from Future Forestry in Cape Coral. While his organization focuses on urban forestry, he understands better than most how hurricanes can actually help local forests.
The experts will tell you that it's good to have openings in the forest so that the sunlight can get to the ground and you can have fresh trees and other things start from scratch.
And humans can even help the process along.
We have a rebirth after a hurricane where there's a lot of work. People are fixing their houses or getting situated again. So we have a renewed emphasis on planting and getting back what we had before. So you get younger people involved with planting and show them that with the things they spend a few hours planting trees, they make a difference and they change their environment.